The use of the Urim. I have been using the Urim now for 26 years, and I have come to recognize over the years that the Urim use has 4 phases. First, the quiet voice of the Spirit of the Lord prepares me by bringing things to mind that open me up to be receptive to new truths unknown to me. And I always feel cautious but faithful to His leadings. This is my repentance phase. My repentance at this point goes beyond my usual daily repentance needs and now brings into play the very core issues of my feeling worthy to approach to use the Urim. No matter how many times I have done it before and it turned out well to be authentically His expressions, I still approach with an acute awareness of my unworthiness. Second, is the actual seeing experience. It is vast and flooded with deep and profound emotions, many times to be almost overcoming, and what is seen in the Urim moves fast from one thing to the next, with me being completely consumed and drawn completely into that which is being seen. What the Spirit told me in the first phase seems very small in comparison, and seeing brings many very profound insights and instructions that are simply out of reach to any person in their normal intellectual and spiritual life. The phase of actual seeing, hearing, and feeling is extremely exhausting, and often I am drained and unable to pass on to the scribes with my normal coherence, and I move back to my place weak-kneed and shaken. The third phase is very interesting. It took me more than 20 years to become fully aware of just what happens when I review the scribe notes. Line by line, word by word, I will look at what the scribes recorded and look away and see that very moment again. And the Spirit brings me actual words of what to say. Most of the time, those words are just the same as the scribes recorded. But two, in very important instances, especially when I am not quoting the Lord or someone else, the words come that really say it well. This is the most surprising part of the process in terms of my self-doubt, especially when I read what was written sometime later and I find just how profoundly it was written and also how consistent and integrated it harmonizes with what was written years before. This is probably my greatest comfort because I know that I am incapable of doing this myself. As the years go by and I read what was written, it seems increasingly true that, in fact, I had little to do with what was written. I could never claim to be the author. And lastly comes the fourth phase. This is editing. First for my grammar and spelling, in parentheses, others do this mostly. And then for clarity of expression. And even in this phase, the Spirit leads. Many times it is found that I miss something important in the scribe notes. Often I miss it because I think it is unimportant, or, I am sorry to admit, I think no one would be interested to hear it. An example I will never forget is the marriage counsel the Lord brought to Enoch, in parentheses, Enoch chapter 12, verse 95 through 133. I had completely left the account out because I thought it may be embarrassing to readers, and besides, everybody may know it already. I would not have actually included that section of the Urim notes if the scribe had not insisted that I do. And seeing that the sanctity of marriage is the central foundation of the religion of Shabuah, which Melchizedek established, such vital information would have been sorely missed. And so I have disclosed all this in keeping with my promise to the Lord to be sure the use of the Urim is not mysterious. Ben Elim. This concludes the use of the Urim. Shalom, family.